Hi, this is Mark with Rightline Trading, and I wanted to create a video on how to use our RLQuantAnalysis indicator. It's a complex indicator, and it's taken us a significant amount of time to develop, tweak, and get exactly right. And I want to provide information so that everybody can integrate it into their trading plan appropriately. Now let's take a look at two markets that we use the quant lines on. First, let's take a look at the E-mini. Now the E-mini S&P and the Russell have two quant lines. Now what we've done is broken down the major markets into the upper line and the minor markets into the lower line. Now these lines assimilate data from correlative markets, from 5 markets that either move in the same direction as the E-mini S&P or in the opposite direction of the E-mini S&P with a correlation coefficient of 0.7. That means 70% of the time or greater. So that they're not perfect, but they have a very high correlation coefficient, and we're doing this analysis on multiple markets. Now, there are certain rules that we have with Rightline. We never trade a yellow modified 15. We only go short below the 50 and long above the 50. We look for conservative retracements into the trend. Now, what the Rightline quant analysis indicator does is provide us with additional information to decrease risk on a trade. Now, if you take a look at this short, now remember, background bias is analyzing market structure, price action, and the 15 and modified 15 support resistance on multiple additional time frames. So here is a place where you have a nice opportunity for a short. This occurred this morning, and we were on a Russell short, which was a very nice short. But you can see the break, the retracement, and you can see that both quant lines are red, which means that 5 correlative markets are moving with you in the appropriate direction. Now, do you have to have both quant lines with you on every trade? And the answer to that is no. Now, the thing is, you don't look at the quant lines and then look up for a trade. You look for a conservative entry and then look for confirmation of that entry with the quant lines. So let's take a look at another potential trade right here. Now, this trade is not that conservative. It's 5 ticks off support, and it's got no bias. Bias means that your higher time frame analysis, no background color, shows that there's resistance to the upside to be broken, that the 15 and the 50 are not moving in the appropriate direction, price action and market structure are not aligned, but you have dual quant lineup. So it's really up to you whether you believe this is sufficient information to take a long. I did not feel that way this morning and did not take the trade. I think when you get dual line confirmation on the ES, it's a stellar setup, but I want to take the trade tighter to support. If I can, I'd also like to add in background bias. Now you can see here the market, the top quant line, which is the leading quant line, goes flat. And we have no more trades. So why don't we go back a few days and take a look. Right here. This is a fabulous trade. The break, the retracement. Now you're trading into a pivot here. Do you want to do it? Well, with all of this in your favor at 11:03 on 5.5, Absolutely. You have order flow and momentum. The candle's outlined in red. 15 and well, the 50 is yellow, but that is irrelevant really. Momentum, as defined by the slope of the 50, is certainly not against you. Nice slope on the modified 15. This dark pink background bias is the strongest down bias we have. It means that all support to the downside has been broken. That price action market structure heading to the downside, and the 50 and the 15 are heading to the downside. You have dual quant confirmation, and down you go. Here is a more aggressive short because the market's oversold, and now you're an appreciable distance off of resistance. Dual quant analysis confirms you would get a first target on the trade. Now here's a trade I took when the quant lines were not yet really tweaked optimally. And you can see now with the lead quant line not moving in your favor, this would have been a loss I could have avoided. And here we have multiple stellar entries. Now this quant line confirmation right here, quant line confirmation here, quant line confirmation here, and here you don't have it. So this is actually the biggest trade, but it's also the riskiest trade. Not only for the fact that you don't have dual quant line confirmation, in fact you don't have confirmation on either. Actually you do. You do have confirmation on the leading line. You have to look to the left. So you do there. So actually it is a tradable setup. But it's the fourth retracement in the trend. So it's a difficult trade, but with all of this and quant line confirmation to the downside, you've got yourself three beautiful trades here. Now if you're out on a reversal candle, you get a 1.5. Here is 1.75. Here is 0.75. And here's your big one. And this is a day maker, 3.5 points. Over 7 points here. There it is. Dual alignment on a beautiful setup. The move to the downside. You get your retracement. Now look at all you have on this trade. Order flow and momentum, and that's reflected in the red outline of the candle. 15 and 50 are down. We know that all resistance to the downside is broken because of the dark pink background color. And we've got 5 correlative markets all moving to the downside. Seems easy, but in real time it obviously is not quite so simple. But let's see here. Now here's a trade into a pivot. Remember, we do not trade into unbroken pivots. Even with all this going for you, this would have been a loser if you traded into a pivot. And I'm going to be the last person to tell you that every single signal that you get is going to work. I'm just looking for trades that I would take, and looking for. See, here's a great signal. Here, where your top quant line, your leading line. Now you do have your minor quant line with you, but it's such a powerful signal. You don't have the top quant line moving against you. It's consolidation right into the modified 15 and the move up. So this doesn't censor the trade. Would you like to have both quant lines moving in your direction? Yes. If you had neither quant line moving in your direction, would you take the trade? Maybe you would, because this is such a tremendously powerful setup with background bias, the best color, consolidation right into the modified 15. Basically, you have to develop a sense of risk assessment. If you only want to trade with dual quant line confirmation, you're going to get less trades, but the positive predictive value of the trades you take is simply going to be higher. Now here's a trade that we did take in the room. It was on a break of the 50. You see we had dual quant line and out confirmation, and down we went. So you can see how powerful this is. It's going to censor some good trades, but it's going to confirm the real conservative nature of some of the trades you take. Here's another one. Now this is a much more aggressive trade because you don't have background bias, which means that you have areas of the downside support that needs to be broken. But you've got your dual quant lines, so you have to ask yourself, do you feel that this is enough to break support? And if you do, then you've got a trade. But what you do have is dual quant line confirmation of the trade. What it does is it decreases significantly the risk of taking this trade without background bias. If you only want to trade with background bias, which is going to give you the most conservative entries possible, and only trade with dual quant analysis, that's totally up to you. Everybody develops their own style. Now let me just look at a couple of trades that we haven't taken yet, that we haven't looked at yet, and then we're going to move to a different market. So here's a great trade to the upside right here. Again, no dual quant analysis, just the minor line, not the major line, but the minor line, but the major line isn't against you. The correlative markets here haven't come into alignment. They're not moving against the trade. They're just not moving in favor of it. But your bottom quant line is. Given the fact that you've got this long period of consolidation, how you have order flow and momentum. See, the background is the color is the candle is outlined in blue. You have a nice move to the upside. Here's a very aggressive short right here. If I move through, whoops, I'm sorry. A retracement. Now you can take this continuation to the downside. It's risky. The 15 has not crossed the 50. No background bias, which means that you have areas of support. This has to break. You do have order flow and momentum. The candle's outlined in red, but you also have dual quant confirmation. And you can see it makes a significant difference when you get what is a potentially great entry signal to look down and get dual quant verification of the trade. Now let's move to a different market. Put this back. And let's move to crude. Now you'll see that crude only has one line. That's because we could only find three markets that correlate with crude oil and with a sufficiently high correlation coefficient. Now, the quant line on crude is not as powerful as the dual quant lines on the ES and the dual quant lines on the Russell. They definitely increase the predictive value of the trade if you trade with them. But if the trade is otherwise perfect, you can trade a neutral quant line. And I'm looking for a really good entry here. These are great entries with quant confirmation. The move to the upside, the retracement, small winner. Then you get the move to the upside and retracement, huge winner. Now this yellow, we don't trade it. Now this is a period of time when we didn't have quant line analysis, and you can see right here, even with the quant line, we did take a loser. It's going to happen. So here, we took this trade. These are all live trading room trades. Move up, retracement, and this was a nice winner. This went, I think it went 14 ticks. Then we took this trade and retracement, and this one went up for, I think, 8 ticks. All quant confirmation, all right off of support. That second trade was not as tight to support as I would like. Well, it went 15, and the second one went 8. Here's another one. Again, it's a little bit of a floating candle. It's a little bit further off support than I would like it to be. And I actually scaled it that it was 8 ticks off support, 8 or 9 ticks. But I took it anyway. I had quant confirmation, best background color, which is green, order flow and momentum on the trade, candles outlined in blue, and we went up for 11 ticks. And that was a lucrative trade. Now you can see how with quant green, how there's just this trend in crude to go to the upside. If you want to trade this long term on 1 or 2 contracts, that's always an option. That's not our style, but we're looking for our third target is 30 ticks, and you don't know if you're going to get this long period of green. You may get a very tiny one, in which case you want to be in and out. But that background color really makes a difference. Let's take a look at one more here. Here's a short, no quant confirmation. But like I said, if you think it's a perfect setup, you can still take the trade. And that is a break, retracement, and a continuation. And this is a tough trade. I did not take it in the live trading room, or I would have an arrow here with a tick number. Thought it was a little too aggressive. This is a terrific long. This is 5 o'clock in the morning, but consolidation into support, quant confirmation, move up, small win. So I just want you to see that how important the quant line is. Now, overall, just to recap, the single quant on crude and gold analyzed 3 markets. You look at your perfect entry. If everything aligns, background bias, order flow momentum, market structure you think is perfect, and the quant line is not in your direction, but it's neutral. It's a tradable setup. Don't let the quant line be this absolute arbiter or ultimate determining factor in whether or not you take a trade. Remember, each component of our trading, each trading entry has multiple elements to it, and the quant line is just an additional element. If the trade goes in your direction, the quant line will come around, and when you have order flow and momentum on the trade, you have no resistance to movement of the market to the upside. When you're in a tremendously powerful trend, the correlative markets may be just one candle away from coming into alignment and giving you a winner. So don't let that be the absolute arbiter on the markets with 1 quant line. On the markets with 2, dual quant line confirmation really increases the predictive value of the trade immensely. The top line is more important than the bottom line. Can you take a trade with the bottom line, with the minor quant line red and the upper quant line neutral? Yes. Is the positive predictive value of the trade equal? No, it's a little bit riskier. you can still trade it. Remember again, it's still a single component of multiple components that we use to assess the value of a trading entry. So, if you do have dual quant confirmation, and it's a really, really nice entry, it does add significantly to the predictive value of the trade. And you're more likely to get a winner. This is another short I took. This is a risky short. I actually took it on the close of a doji. In this case, that's a hammer. But I didn't have the quant lines working for me then. But the dual quant lines absolutely help your trading immensely. Now, nothing guarantees you a win. As you can see right here, I took that trade. I had background bias with me, a good color. I took the retracement, expecting a continuation to the downside, and I had dual quant confirmation. And normally, when you lose a trade like this, it's just because the market just pulls back, in this case, into resistance, and then just slams down. That's why we want to take the trades off support or resistance, because when you do lose it, that's what happens. So this was the high of this candle was 75. The high of this candle was 50. 3 ticks of movement right back into resistance, and then the move from here would have been a huge winner. Now you only have the leading quant line on a small entry, on a small candle body, but that's the trade that went. And the reason this trade lost was because it was a little bit of a hanging entry and retraced back to resistance. But the predictive value of your trading, you can see we picked the trend. We knew the market was going to fall. Just a question of we want to get in at the optimal entry, which is always right off support or resistance. That's a very, very key parameter to trading, and that's why we have an indicator right here, the 6, that tells us how far the candle body open is from our modified 15. That's very important, and that's a key component to our trading. And you see right here now on the ES, here was a move down. Here was a retracement. Now we had minor quant confirmation, and we had a winner. Here again, minor quant confirmation, winner. Now we know the market's heading down. We just have to get in at an optimal place. There's no other place to get in. Modified 15 is yellow. Here the market just turns down. Well, here's an entry. Move to the downside, retracement, dual quant line confirmation, and down we go. So you can see how great, it really is a terrific addition. Dark pink, 50-15 down there. It's always going to be on a dark pink background. Dual quant line confirmation. Very, very successful trades. If you want to wait for these, no problem. If you want to trade with just the minor quant line red and the major quant line yellow, you can. It's a little riskier. You want to trade without background bias, riskier still. And so you have to really devise a trading plan that meets the expectations of your risk tolerance. Everybody's is different. I tend to be very conservative, and that's why today in the trading room we had 5 winners and we had 1 loser. And the 1 loser that occurred was just like the trade I showed you. It came back and took us out after it retraced 2 ticks further up into resistance, and then just fell like a rock. So that's really how to use the quant lines. They're set. We really like the way they trade. They definitely help you. And if you want to trade in the most conservative fashion possible, trade with dual quant line confirmation on the Russell and on the E-mini S&P. These trades have a tremendously high positive predictive value. Trade with them on crude and on gold. Again, they'll help you. It's going to get you between 85 and 90% of your trades will be winners if you just take those setups right off support or resistance. It's taken us an enormous amount of work to get these quant lines working as well as they are. It really has been a bear to bring in the analysis of multiple markets and have them all running at different speeds, since they all have different degrees of volatility. They all create a different number of candles in a given day. You don't want to make these quant lines too slow, or then they become unusable. If they move too quickly, it's like a kaleidoscope of colors that just move past you so fast that you almost have to anticipate what the quant lines are going to be at the close of the candle. We don't want that. We want that quant line to be either red-red or red-yellow, with the minor quant line yellow, long before the close of the candle. Have you set up and be able to anticipate exactly where you're going to be. So that's it. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call. You're always welcome in for a free trial. Let me show you our information. We're at www.rightlinetrading.com. There you can see a link to our free trial sign up. There's also our phone number to call us if you have a question. There's a link there to our daily net equity in the trading room, a link to our daily net equity on our 2 auto traders, which we are currently integrating with the quant lines. So our 2.0 version of our auto traders will be coming out very shortly. Quant line integration is going to immensely increase the predictive value of our auto trader entries. You can email us directly at info@rightlinetrading.com. There's our phone number, 1-855-765-6681. Thanks, everyone, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the trading room. Take care.